Is there anybody within this command staff and executive staff you can't work with?
Ma'am, I cannot work with Major Kruger. He has sexually harassed me and attacked me, and I cannot work with him.
That is the conversation at the center of the Louisville Metro Police Chief now being on paid administrative leave. WHAS11 obtained that recording, which sheds lights on the sexual harassment allegation brought to LMPD Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villarroel's attention, not in private, but in an open meeting of department leadership. And within a minute of acknowledging the complaint, the chief proceeds with promotions, including announcing a promotion for the man who just been referenced in the harassment allegation. This evening, we now know that promotion has not formally taken place. So these are the latest developments as we follow this story right now at 5. I'm Eric King.
And I'm Connie Leonard. The lawyer for Major Shannon Lauder, who brought her concerns before the chief, is speaking out today after the recording went public. Now, Ian Hardwood has been diving into the audio and questioning Lauder's attorney as the public looks for answers in this situation.
Yeah, so Ian, we know and we've heard about the allegation that was made in that open department meeting. Do we know if there was an actual complaint filed through the typically appropriate channels?
We don't know if that's been done yet, but here's what we do know. Right now, LMPD has started an independent investigation. That happened after the meeting we just heard. The city began a separate investigation on Monday before the mayor heard the recording. I also took this big question to Lauder's attorney this morning. Here's what he said. Mr. Smith, did Major Lauder bring her concerns to anybody else in LMPD before this recording? Here's Jared Smith, Major Shannon Lauder's attorney.
All I'm at liberty to speak to today is what transpired within that recording. I've been hired by Ms. Lauder to investigate the circumstances of the recording and the circumstances surrounding it.
He told us Lauder hired him before she recorded her sexual harassment allegation on May 22nd. At that recorded meeting, LMPD Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villarroel grilled high-ranking members of the department over dysfunction, then asked,
Is there anybody within this command staff and executive staff you can't work with?
Lauder answered shortly after.
Ma'am, I cannot work with Major Kruger. He has sexually harassed me and attacked me, and I cannot work with him.
Total silence filled the meeting for close to 30 seconds before the chief continued questioning, then announced officer promotions. One was the accused major.
Your next lieutenant colonel will be Brian Kruger.
She paused for questions, then addressed Lauder.
Major Lauder, I've heard your concerns, and I understand that you cannot, and so we have to visit on the status moving forward.
Yes, ma'am. I know now's not a good time to bring it up, but I didn't want you to say that, later that I didn't bring it up. So sorry I had to come out in this way.
We got to keep moving the department forward, but I have heard your concern. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A LMPD spokesperson told us he was unavailable for an interview and not officially promoted. We also reached out to the local Fraternal Order of Police and the mayor's office trying to reach Major Kruger, but they did not respond to those requests. However, Mayor Craig Greenberg's press secretary shared this statement. Shortly after the workplace sexual harassment claim was made, LMPD engaged an independent investigator to investigate the claim. As the mayor stated, this is a separate, independent investigation from the Byer investigation. Though all these investigations are just beginning, Smith claims the harassment went on much longer.
I'm in the process of investigating events that span the last 4 years in time.
He also said LMPD is cooperating with his investigation. Now, we heard from Mayor Greenberg's office today that they made the decision to suspend the chief before the recording was released. The city hired an independent investigator, that's David Byer, on Monday, and that's in a separate investigation from LMPD's own. I'm live in studio, Ian Hardwood.
Ian, thank you so much. Well, this is not the first time the LMPD chief has been accused of misconduct as a police officer.
Yeah, so more than 20 years ago, she was suspended for lying in another department. And recently, she said she misspoke about using her body camera. Focus reporter Travis Breeze recaps her history of accountability.
Jackie Gwen Villarroel has worked for LMPD since 2021. She started as deputy chief, took over as interim chief when Mayor Greenberg took office in January 2023, and was given the permanent title in July 2023. Prior to that, she had a 24-year career with the Atlanta Police Department, where she was suspended for lying very early on. In 2003, Gwen Villarroel was caught on camera pulling a file that wasn't meant for her. According to an internal APD investigation obtained by WHAS, her brother-in-law, John Farmer, was under investigation for potentially using a car shop as a front to sell drugs. As police were trying to obtain a search warrant for Farmer's property, Gwen Villaroel allegedly overheard a conversation and went into an officer's office to search for Farmer's file. They installed a camera in that private office and made a fake phone call in earshot of Gwen Villaroel, trying to get her to search for the file again. According to the documents, she did and was caught on camera. She denied doing it, but then admitted after being shown the video. Gwen Villaroel, an investigator at the time, was given a 20-day suspension.
Where's the footage, Chief?
In Louisville in November of 2023, Gwen Villaroel was questioned about her own body camera use when responding to a fatal accident in 2021. She said she was not wearing a body camera on that day and was not interacting with the public.
I would have activated it if I had it on.
That's your story, you're sticking to it.
That's my statement.
The attorney for the crash victim then showed a photo of Gwen Villaroel at the scene with a body camera on her chest. At the time, Mayor Greenberg's office said Gwen Villaroel misspoke and it was a trap question. Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
Now, LMPD has a high turnover rate for its top job. We've had 6 acting chiefs in the last 4 years. In 2020, Steve Conrad was fired by former Mayor Greg Fisher. Conrad was fired after the mayor learned no body cameras were turned on during the shooting of beloved West Louisville business owner David McAtee. McAtee was shot by a National Guardsman during a Breonna Taylor protest. Robert Schroeder became the interim chief, but only for a couple of months. He retired, opening the door for interim chief Yvette Gentry. Now, she was the first black woman to hold the job as an interim. Then the next year, Erica Shields came from Atlanta. And with her was Deputy Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villaroel.
Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey is now the acting chief. He's probably a familiar face to many of you. He's been with the LMPD now for 18 years. He created and leads the department's Accountability and Improvement Bureau. Humphrey also serves as the lead officer working with the U.S. Department of Justice as the department and the city negotiate a consent decree. All right, right here at 5, a first look at videos of police questioning Steve Lawson, one of the 3 men accused in Crystal Rogers' murder. Its testimony, Lawson's attorney says, was given in exchange for immunity. Today, the judge hearing arguments for Lawson's charges heard arguments for those charges to be dropped.
But prosecutors stayed firm in saying that Lawson didn't hold up his end of the bargain. Senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez and chief photojournalist Philip Murrell report from the Nelson County Courthouse.
Special Prosecutor Shane Young says in one of the conversations with Steve Lawson, he was told 27 times to be truthful in his testimony. Young argues Lawson failed to do that.
This game of charades going on with Houts and Lawson and what they're trying to pull is no different than what they've been doing the last 8 years.
Tempers flared in the courtroom. Special Prosecutor Shane Young showed snippets of conversations Steve Lawson had with authorities. Interrogations from 2023 captured on video.
I never done any work for Mr. House, ever.
In real time, Lawson watched closely, at times looking uneasy, even taking his glasses off for a moment.
I believe that he was trying to tell the truth.
The judge heard arguments from Lawson's attorney, Ted Lavitt, who's asking for the charges against his client to be dropped because he was promised immunity in exchange for his testimony. But on Thursday, Special Prosecutor Shane Young said Lawson broke the conditions of that agreement.
The deal was, on June 8th, it was blanket immunity. On June 12th, it was immunity as long as you did not hurt her or participate in the murder. But to get that, he had to be 100% truthful with no omissions. We do have specific examples where he is telling the complete opposite of what he had said in a previous interview.
Ted, at one point you said your client has told the entire truth. At another time you said he was trying to tell the truth. I mean, which is it?
Well, he's trying to give them what they wanted. And they would tell him, look, you're messing up. You're not telling us. You're not giving us this. Well, what do you want me to do?
You believe the prosecution threw him off?
Well, of course. They kept putting pressure on an uneducated person to come up with what they wanted.
At the very least, Lavitt wants Lawson's conversations with police last year to be withheld from use as evidence at trial. A key piece of that, the 2015 phone call between Lawson and Brooks Houck.
It had to do with securing an apartment for his niece.
You're saying that's the truth?
Yes.
Because he testified in the grand jury that the phone call was to let Brooks Houck know that the job had been done. He's under oath.
And for the first time, prosecutors brought up the name Tammy Lawson. She's Steve Lawson's late ex-wife, who Young believes was involved in the crime. He claims she was also there on the Bluegrass Parkway, where Rogers' car was later found abandoned, with her phone, purse, and keys still inside. After the hour-long hearing, Lawson, in handcuffs, was taken out of the courtroom. Sherry Ballard and the rest of Crystal Rogers' family now looking to the next court appearance in July. There are two big questions left to answer after this hearing. One, will the case against Steve Lawson ultimately get dismissed? And two, what part of the testimony, if any, will be fair game to use in the trial? The judge says he will take some time and issue a ruling as quickly as possible. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
And remember, there are two other suspects charged in the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. Brooks Houck, her former boyfriend, is charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence. And Steve Lawson's son, Joseph Lawson, is charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence.
And the two of them will be back in court along with Steve on July 8th. That's when prosecutors will push to combine the three cases into one trial. But remember, all three defendants have objected to that motion.